Welcome back, everybody, to the Huddle Up podcast presented by the Jeremy Hodge Auto Group, Cooper Paint, Striping, and Seal, and the newest sponsor, Magnolia Landscape and Design. I mean, we're like a NASCAR pit crew here. We got all kinds of sponsors. So, got my co-host, David Glidden, with us. DG, what's going on, man? How are you?
What's up, brother? Doing well, man. I'm fired up for this episode right here. Our guest,
Yes,
man, this guy
sir.
does it all. He knows it all. It's big
The
time, man.
Swiss
Fired up
Army
for this
knife
one.
the Swiss Army knife of all things media in the state of Oklahoma. I don't know what all he covers anymore. Sooner Scoop, the Franchise Morning Show. You know, he's in Omaha for, 2 glorious weeks here and everything like that. But we got our guy, Eddie Radosevich. Eddie, welcome to the show. Thank you.
Gentlemen, thank you. Thank you for that lovely introduction. I appreciate it. It's good to be here. Good to get a couple of weeks of, a little bit of downtime here before football begins. It's kind of crazy. Like, we were talking about it on the radio this morning, but I feel like anytime that you get to the 4th of July, it feels kind of like football. And then I think we listened to like a Part of My Take podcast on the way back. They had George Kittle on before the TEU stuff. And it was like, okay, I think it's kind of here, but we'll take about a week and a half. And before you know it, be headed down to Tampa Bay for SEC Media Day. So it's rapidly approaching, but enjoying the downtime for right now.
Yes, sir. Awesome. Yeah, it's already July. We could just say it. Tomorrow is July. We're already there. SEC Media Days, when does that start for you guys? Is that into July? When is that? When are those dates?
OU's on the first day, and it's July 20th. And then I think it's like 20th, 21st, 22nd, something like that. Big 12 Media Day is like next week or after. I think it's July 11th. So it's a week from Saturday or a week from Sunday. So it's rapidly approaching. And I don't know, you guys have been around it enough to know that like once July hits, all of a sudden it's like August 30th and the season is about to begin. So excited, but definitely ready for a couple of, kind of chill weekends after being up in Omaha for 12 days.
Yeah,
no
I bet
doubt.
so, man. I bet so. Well, tell us about that. Let's start there. You just mentioned it. Time in Omaha.
I mean, it was insane.
It was dude.
Insane.
Phenomenal. What a run.
Yeah,
literally, what a run. I know you. Drew's going to bust my balls. Right? But seriously, an incredible run. Tell us about your time there, what it was like watching that team put it all together, man. And, I mean, you got to witness it firsthand. Drew, I know you were there too, man. They put on a show. I mean, watching baseball on TV sometimes can be what it is, but not in Omaha and definitely not the way that team played, man. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it was insane. I mean, I think that like the story kind of begins walking out of Bricktown Ballpark the Thursday night of the first game of the last regular season series. And we did the post-game interviews with Skip. And he walked out of the stadium in his uniform. He was like, do you need a ride? And one of his, sports information directors asked him that. And he's like, no, I deserve all the criticism that I get. And then it was like from that moment on, after the SEC tournament, they began this magical run that hit 30 home runs in the NCAA tournament. It just seemed like everything fell into place for this team. And, I think that you look at what they did in Omaha, obviously getting through the bracket that they did with Georgia on that side of the bracket, Texas, and then obviously Alabama, the kind of the SEC Invitational. It was storybook. And I think that even going to the Atlanta Regional when they were down 8-2 in the 4th inning, where the story like truly begins, I think everybody kind of come to be reserved with where this thing was going to end. So it was an unbelievable run. What they did with the trio of freshman pitchers, Cord Rager, Zayna Mercurius, and Nick Wisłowski was unbelievable. Offensively, it just seemed like every time that they needed to answer somebody to get a run, to get back into the game or to extend a game or to separate from a game, they came up with the 2-out base hit, or they came up with a home run. It was unbelievable. I mean, I think that the phrase that has been used and probably overly used, but it's been accurate, it was the most improbable run to a national championship Oklahoma athletics has seen. So it was crazy. I mean, I think that George and I both went up to Omaha thinking if they can just win a game, that'd be probably pretty cake. But you're going to have to go through Georgia twice, or you're going to have to go through Texas twice. And to sit there on like Wednesday and realize that they were in the national semifinal, and then the way that they beat Georgia to get into the national championship series, it was insane. It truly was insane with the lows that this team went through throughout the year.
Yeah. It made it look easy at times. It made it look easy. Like at times it was like
you just said
one through 9. It was insane.
We literally flipped the script on what we had been doing all season long. Where couldn't throw strikes. We walked a lot of guys. We couldn't get timely hits. We, couldn't get off the field. And it was almost the exact opposite. I think the stat, and you said it earlier, I look at our catcher, Deaton LaChance. He had 0 home runs in like the first 37 games and then turned it around and had like absurd, amount of home runs. And then, Willits, those guys, everything that could go wrong went wrong. And then everything that could go right went right for us there. Like you said, Georgia Tech being down 8-2, the number 2 national seed. Everybody, wrote us off. I think Taki got hit in the balls with a foul ball, and it was just like, okay, here we go. And then he turns around the next at bat and hits a walk-off home run. So
it was insane. It was insane. And to go through the ACC champ in the manner that they did, beating him twice, go through the Big 12 champ, and then go through the SEC champ, beat all of those teams twice. You had 9 wins against national seeds in the NCAA tournament, which was an all-time record. It was kind of magical, like just being around it loosely. I didn't go to Atlanta to do the regional, but we did go up to Lawrence and cover it. And then obviously throughout the run in Omaha, it just had a special feel about it. And I think even the players, talking to Brendan Brock, I think it would have been on like Wednesday or Thursday after they got into the national championship series. He even said it. It was like, it feels like we're doing something special, but I don't think any of us truly realize what we're doing. Deshaun Harris coming out of nowhere over the last month.
Golly.
He had 18 runs batted in the NCAA tournament. Kyle Branch with 6 RBIs in the national championship clincher. Truly coming out of nowhere. I mean, I think he's a guy that's been obviously extremely good with his glove, defensively up the middle alongside Jackson Willits, but you don't really look for your 9-hole to impact the game in the manner that he did in the national championship series. Even in game 1, he won the 3-3 tie with the base hit. It was 1 through 9. It was incredible. And what they got from the middle of that lineup with Dayton LaChance, like you said, Jackson Willits, the 13 hits was a school record in Omaha. He was obviously the most outstanding player up there. It was a magical run, and out of nowhere, it was. I couldn't be happier for Skip Johnson, who I think a lot of people started to catch on to towards the end of the run there in Omaha, and just the interviews that he did on television. He is one of a kind. He's best of the best. What you see is what you get with him. And it was just a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to cover from a standpoint of from baseball, where it's a very small, select group of people that follow it game in and game out. The grinders that are standing there watching in game threads in March when it's 45 degrees out and the wind's.
Hey, I was there. I was there at the first series in February.
Yeah.
So
I mean, to think that they were playing on February 13th and going to June 23rd, just insane. I hope. I definitely think that it caught on within the fan base and just the outpouring of support that they got up in Omaha.
Well, and I was getting ready to add to that point because I was there in 22 and watched the Ole Miss series and seeing a bunch of colored hats like you're wearing right now all over the place. It was like 90%, 10%, and it was insane because we weren't in the SEC then. We didn't know, and we got a glimpse of what it was going to be like. But seeing that fan base come around and Monday night, having a chance to go back up and watching them finish it out with the contingent of fans that were there in Omaha was unbelievable because, you couldn't hear the guy next to you in the stands. And that was just unbelievable because football, we get that atmosphere all the time. Like, no big deal.
Sure.
But to see it, and then even obviously softball and other sports, but to see that in baseball, like you said, having fans, whether you've been following the team all year or whether you caught on at the end, it doesn't matter. The wagon is there's room for all. And so for me, it was awesome to see that perspective because, seeing it in 22, falling short in 22, and then seeing it come, full circle and seeing how many OU fans showed up in Omaha, even that last weekend, was awesome.
Yeah, it was incredible. And, I think that just walking around the concourse on Sunday before game 2, even though that they lost, there was such a feeling of it was kind of like inspiring in a way. I don't know. I think everybody kind of felt the magic of what was going on. And I was kind of wondering, were there going to be a lot of people that went back on Monday with work and all that kind of stuff. And it was a great turnout. And just like being down on the field and in the dugout in the tunnel at the end of games, seeing all the coaches and administrators and current athletes and former athletes, it was kind of Oklahoma athletics euphoria down there on the field. And it was just a really cool scene to take in, and to think that they won the national championship. I think it's still like just completely bizarre.
I'm like,
where this
that
came
is
from.
Yeah, that is something for me. And it was incredible too, because I got to spend pretty much the whole time in Omaha. Last time in 22, I got to take my dad got to go with us, hang out, and then he ended up passing away in 2024. And then for this, it was more like a family thing for me, because me and my dad had baseball, and we like the Atlanta Braves, and we love OU baseball, and to see that come back around and I don't know. I got a little emotional there on Monday night, because I was like, man, this is awesome. And I just wish that, Pops was here to see this. And I think a lot of fans could relate like that in a way. And it was really cool to see, all the struggles and everything like that. And then even and I still can't believe that, we won the national championship. And so that was, something that I'll always, remember.
Yeah, it definitely is something special. And, I was calling my dad after every game, like, the fuck is going on? Like, I cannot believe that they just continue to play out of their minds. Based on some of the conversations that we had after like the Florida series, of the Tennessee series, the Texas series, the Arkansas series, it was a magical run. I think there was like a certain level of innocence that's still left in college baseball too. As much as like NIL and everything that has changed the dynamic of college athletics, there's something still there. And going up to Omaha, even though it's not at Rosenblatt where it used to be, and it's at Charles Schwab now, they've been able to preserve something about college baseball and the specialness of it and the atmosphere that comes with it. So it was cool. I mean, it's I've said, and this was even before this year, before they won the national championship, even going back into 2022, I've covered Final Fours, BCS games, playoff games in the current college format now, and there's something about the way that baseball does, and I think it's a little bit more laid back than other sports, but at the same time, it certainly has the same type of seriousness about it. So it was just really cool, and just a unique scene to be up there and to watch that, and the way that it came together for Oklahoma was pretty special.
Well, and for me, it was unexpected too, because I was going to miss that championship series because I didn't. But I got a late invite Monday morning to go up, and I was like, all right, let's do it. And so I was glad I got to be up there and experience that. So that was fun. So
that's special. To your point that you hit, I'll add this. I watched it on TV. I was not there with you all. And I will say the crowd in Omaha, no matter what year you're there, it's always, at least to me, it always seems like it's electric. To your point, Eddie, right? Like, it's like there is something special and unique about it. And no matter how many Jello shots you've had or haven't had or whatever, like it's the atmosphere is electric.
No,
but
it is.
Seemed,
and
it did seem like there was a notch up, and the Sooner fan base truly did, like it showed out. And I was like, man,
hey,
around,
he said,
sitting in my living room.
He said Sooners. You said Sooners.
Yeah,
man, good job.
I had to give you credit.
Job.
I had to give you credit. Right?
No,
it was impressive to watch. It was impressive, and to listen. I had to turn the TV down at one time. I was like, man, these people are going crazy. So it's beautiful. Yeah. It's what sports does. Go sports. It was phenomenal. And again, congrats to OU, man. And last week we talked about it a lot on here. There was a certain belief, obviously, within that team. They hit their stride, and that's fun to watch, man. That's what sports is all about.
That was like kind of the coolest part, is like, even like taken away from Oklahoma. I remember the Fresno State run back in the mid 2000s, and thinking like, what a special group, like a team that had kind of been thrown out, and for Oklahoma to put this run together. Because again, like coming even out of the SEC tournament, I think when everybody saw them pop up in the Atlanta regional, is like, okay, well, maybe you can get to a regional final. It'd still be a good year. It'd be a progression from where you were a year ago. But at the same time, I don't think anybody thought that this thing would come together in the manner that it did. And just the stories that were involved in this team, whether it be Dayton LaChance and Brendan Brock that are JUCO guys, or Jackson Willis, who grew up an Oklahoma fan, Kyle Branch to the same extent, doing it with his bat, like we talked about earlier. So it was cool. It was a cool run. I was glad that the story was up there with me.
Speaking of the Branch family, what a cool story that was for their family. And that moment that Colby hit the home run and then they high five each other going around, like you can't script that. And I don't care. Like the game was well in hand. I wouldn't have cared if they stopped and hugged each other. Like that was awesome. Like, and for them, the parents to have that, like, could you imagine being a parent? You're like, all right, we're rooting for our kids here. One's on this side. One's going to win. One's going to lose. One's going to go to the national championship. The other one's season's going to be over. Like that's incredible.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And, you know, it even goes back to the super regional weekend when they were flying back and forth in between Athens and I believe the DFW area, because his youngest brother Carter was playing in the state tournament.
Yep.
He ends up being the MVP of the tournament. They win the state championship. I mean, you talk about a baseball family, just a really cool story. And, you know, Colby, obviously, I think he hit a home run with Team USA the other night. Gordon Zander are down there pitching
nice.
in, I think it's Cary, North Carolina is where they're based out of for the national training program. But it's just an exceptional story. It was an exceptional kind of addition to what was already a unique story with Oklahoma. And it's just a lot of fun to cover. College baseball is certainly, I think, for a lot of people that, you know, just kind of keep it on the periphery, you can get super into it. And I think it kind of took over a little bit like softball has in a way with Oklahoma fans here, kind of filling that void with Patty's group not getting to the championship series. So
no doubt,
it was a lot of fun.
That's a good call.
Other than obviously the baseball in Omaha, what is your favorite thing? I know you don't get a ton of time or whatever like that. What is your favorite thing to do in Omaha now that you've kind of, you know, I would say you're a, you know, kind of second home in Omaha now that you've covered it so much and been up there. What's some good things to do in Omaha when you're not obviously watching baseball?
Yeah, it's kind of weird because I think everything kind of revolves. We stayed in Omaha in 23 when OU went up to Lincoln to play football. So I feel like I know Omaha quite a bit. Not really a whole lot other than go to the bar and drink, but there's a couple really cool bars. I mean, Rocco's obviously gets all the attention around there. I kind of liked Addie's or DJ's Dugout just north of the stadium there. Both really good places. Like I feel like the wings at Addie's are really good.
Yeah, we hung out at Blad's. We hung out at Blad's for a little while. Yeah, Blad's is a great spot. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yep. So
Black Light, they're pretty good beer for just a kind of run of the mill place. It is kind of weird though. It's like when you go up to Omaha and the baseball's not going on, it definitely does feel like a different town than what you're presented when everything is rolled out, red carpet wise for the NCAA tournament, for the College World Series. But yeah, like we just hung out, didn't have to do radio while I was up there. So we were staying out a little bit later than normal, but it was fun. It was a good time.
There you go.
After 12 days though, I think we were so kind of talked ourselves into thinking like after Saturday, game one, it was like, all right, we're going to be out of here by Monday. And then they got beat on Sunday. We ended up going to the Omaha Zoo on Monday afternoon, which was kind of cool. I hadn't been to the zoo since like 96.
What a spot, man. That is that zoo. I mean, we know up there in 22, man, that is pretty impressive. I will say that there's quite a bit to see at that zoo, and I was pretty impressed. So
yeah, it's I don't know what the scale of zoo is, but from
I don't either.
Oklahoma City to San Diego to Omaha, I think those are the three I've been to. Maybe Arlington Heights in Chicago. It's top four for me. That might be the only one I've been to, but
that's great.
Well, they allow you to take Jello shots to the zoo.
I actually, the way that security presented us when we got to the zoo on Monday, you could probably bring anything in. I don't think they were checking any bags.
The monkeys need Jello shots too, right? You know, let's see, give them a little.
They were hiding out. It was hot the day we were there, but
I bet, man.
The weather wasn't too bad. I went up the first weekend against Alabama, and it compared to other years, it was not bad at all.
Incredible. The weather that might have been like the best part of the trip. Was just getting up there and getting out of the heat for a little bit. I mean, there was a couple. Did we miss any weather reports from you? Did you have any weather reports from Omaha? I'm trying to think. It rained in Lawrence. It rained on Saturday night after game one.
Yeah.
When they moved the game time up. But outside of that, like everybody kept saying, like, you know, it was kind of one of those unspoken things, like don't jinx it because the weather was so good up there. Yeah. No, we didn't. I don't think that we did any big time weather reports while we were in Omaha.
No big time weather. Yeah, no doubt. All right, so we'll now get off the topic of OU baseball to save, Glid's sanity and everything like that. And we'll talk about a topic that we all three enjoy, which is the Oklahoma City Thunder. It's the off season. made some moves. The biggest thing I think was re-signing Isaiah Hartenstein. Got that accomplished. Got some good drafts. Give us your thoughts on what Oklahoma City has done and what you think, obviously with the Aaron Wiggins trade, stuff like that. And what do you think kind of Sam Presti is behind the scenes doing? And is there still more to be done with the Thunder?
Yeah, I mean, I think that obviously you start with Wiggins and you start with Isaiah Joe. Fantastic careers. Obviously, Wiggins' speech at the parade will be remembered in this city forever. So hat off to him. And he was really good when the Thunder needed him in moments. But I think we also kind of saw the writing on the wall with maybe both of those guys. Tough to stomach with Isaiah Joe just because of the contract. I understand that you're going to have to pay him a bunch of money. Wish him the best when he goes to Detroit. It was good to see Hartenstein just from a stability standpoint in the Thunder front court moving forward. And, I guess I'm kind of, I don't know, maybe talk myself into this, maybe more than it is reality, but I love where they're at. I mean, without injuries, I feel like they probably would have beat the Spurs. And you also give credit to the Spurs for making all the shots they did in Game 7. It was very exciting to watch the way that Game 5 in the NBA Finals ended while we were up in Omaha on that first Saturday. But at the same time, I mean, I kind of like where they're at. I don't think that they need to really do a whole lot. I love getting Mara. I'm kind of a college basketball sicko, and I watched him at UCLA and then make his transfer over to Michigan, and just the transformation of a player that he was. I thought he was kind of a big gangly guy that couldn't really move. He played a lot better, obviously, this season with the national champion in Dusty May. So we'll see. I'm not just a big NBA draft head in terms of knowing what they're getting, but I do know that I watched Bennett Sturts light it up at Drake and then at Iowa this past season. So I like what he brings from a sharpshooting standpoint. And like I said, the Thunder had such a successful year. I remember thinking at times during February and March, it got boring watching them win by 40 or 50 every night, it seems. So I love where they're sitting going into next season. It's going to be about, can they kind of tame the beast that is Wemby that gave them so many problems in the series that ended their season.
No doubt. Glenn, what are your thoughts so far on the Thunder? We haven't talked about them that's been a little bit ever since I think we the season was over. But what are you thinking? And are the Thunder up to some more stuff? I know another big topic is Lou Dort and stuff like that too. So what are your thoughts on so far? What the Thunder have done?
Yeah, it does. It feels great to talk about them again. That's for damn sure. Because it has been a minute. We just had some things going on recently on here and had some good conversations. So to get back to that conversation in the heat of time, that is every time I turn on the radio right now, it feels like that's the only talk in the last couple of days. And every time I get in the truck, so it's beautiful. Yeah, I agree with Eddie, man. It hurts losing Isaiah Joe. It hurts losing Aaron Wiggins, to those guys and contributions they make. Great role players, obviously, for what they will. And, it's going to be interesting these next couple of days. I think the one that I'm kind of most on the edge of my seat about is definitely Queso. I love Cason Wallace.
Yeah.
And obviously the upside for him, and there's a reason they're talking about him and how much he's going to be able to get paid and the whole thing. Man, that's one to me. I'm like, that one will hurt to lose. That one will hurt to lose for sure. So that's the one tonight. Everything at midnight changes for him, obviously, going into these next few days. So that's the one. iHeart was huge. Great piece. I'm glad to have him along with our draft picks. That's a big deal. We know what, it's really hard if you're not a, top 2, 3, 4, 5 pick in the NBA. If you're not a true lottery guy to come in and have a strong impact in your first year, in my opinion, I think that's pretty tough in the league. So to get iHeart back, help those guys, help more grow and develop a little bit, I think that's a big thing. But I'm sitting here, picking up Lou Dort's option. No telling what's going to happen, obviously, with that now. So and he's obviously had a huge piece. I know people were disappointed with him towards the end of the year and just the way he shot the ball. But that's what you live with a 3-and-D guy. He's a core guy, 3-and-D. He does his role, comes in, never going to get credit for the defense and just the hard-nosed tenacity that he plays with. So that's going to happen. That's going to happen with those kind of guys. But there's also times when you love him to death. He steps up and makes big plays, makes big shots, just like he did for us when we won the title last year, right? So I think it's all great. The bottom line for me is let's see what happens with Queso And then at the end of the day, I've always said this: no matter what happens, in Sam, I trust for sure till the day I die. It's proven year in and year out. I mean, he's the best front office guy in sports for a reason, and I'll sit back and let him do his job, and I'll just whenever he does whatever he wants to do, I'll give my hats off to him and say, all right, if that's what you want to do, let's roll.
Even if he
it's kind of
chooses
nice
to
knowing that Presley's going to take care of all of it.
For sure. It's money.
Dave, are you still going to be upset if he chooses to part ways with Case and Wallace? Are you really going to be?
I will be upset, but I'm not going to hold it against him because
All
he knows
right.
way more than I'll ever know. But like you're telling me, you wouldn't hurt to see the guy that led the league in steals.
Sure,
and
no,
also
I
in
think
those
he's
last couple games gave us a chance because of the way he shot the ball and played. Just the upside is. I mean, they're talking about him making $30 million a year.
And I think it'll be interesting to see, if you do, part ways with him, what kind of pieces do you bring in to kind of replace that a little bit? Because I still think you need, if you're going to, let him go, I still think you need another type of guy like that, or, somebody maybe with a little more size that's a little more athletic, something like that. So that will be interesting to see if, that happens, if there's a deal that he's working or if, some stuff like that, because ultimately, he's making these tough decisions to try to get away from the high salary, and not avoid that repeat luxury tax. So that's kind of what they're working right now. And who knows what's going to happen. So there's some things that he may be working that, we don't know. So
the good news is what we did with AJ Mitchell before the year started, right?
Yeah.
And so I've heard people say, well, you can't have AJ Mitchell and you can't have Queso at the same time. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Bullshit.
I agree.
Give me both of them. I want them both. We need them both. And
I'd be surprised if they weren't able to work something out with Case. And it just seems like very Thunder culture type signing, where not to say that he's going to take less than what he's deserved, but I do think that they would work something out to the point that, hey, he's going to be the next in line. And he probably already is the next in line, just in terms of it's almost more is Lou going to be willing to take a step back? And now that you have him signed, do you think about maybe going and sign and trade? I don't know. I don't know how any of that shit works, if we're being completely honest. I like to think that I do. But again, same
I agree. It's not about, you don't need to know how it works. You just need to know how to talk about it when it does work or not work.
Yeah,
something happens.
If it
it's
does
like,
work,
all right.
And then say, what a great move that was.
Right. Exactly. So somebody telling me it's a great move. Okay, that's a great move. Yeah, let's go with it. So
that's for sure.
Move. I never said it was a great move.
There you go. Right.
I agree. I mean, to answer your question, Drew, I would be sad to see Queso leave, man. I think the upside is there. Like, it's hard. Nobody can sit here and honestly say that if you were gonna have to choose one to lose right now at the point they're at in their career, like you're not taking Lou Dort ever any day of the week over Queso just because of everything.
Sure.
Literally of everything. The upside on offense, how good he is on defense, the age difference. It's just not even close. So yeah, that one would hurt, but I understand. And again, in Sam, I trust. So we'll let it ride and see what happens in these next few days.
Oh gosh. Okay. I thought we were going to get through maybe an episode or something like that without talking about LeBron James and, Olden State or whatever they call them out there. I don't know. They're trying to make some things happen, but I don't know. I think he can still play at a good clip, but when is it time for LeBron James to finally hang it up?
I don't know. I'll say this, Brennan, we thank you for your comment.
Yes.
Phenomenal.
Yes.
We always love a comment.
Yeah.
But man, I'm with you, Drew. We can't do that.
Yeah.
What are we doing? But man, ticket sales would you could up the price on them ticket sales for a little bit. That's for damn sure. But that ain't us.
I don't think that'll be happening.
Yeah. No, he's not. Yeah. No. The only way he's coming to Oklahoma City is if it's an away game. And I think he's missed the last couple. I think when the Lakers came the last time, he wasn't, obviously other than the playoffs, but
yeah, sure.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Okay. But would you take him?
No.
I'd take him
Eddie?
if he wants to sit on the bench. If he wants to be on the team, he's not starting though. He's not playing, 24 minutes a game.
No. He could wreck that locker room like quick. And no way. Because not only that, he's going to bring his little son who thinks he can play in the NBA and, all this other stuff. And that right there just, that's a whole nother topic.
Little son.
Yeah. I mean, he is. The only reason he's in the NBA is because his last name is James. That's it. He's a D-League player at best.
Hey, it was.
I agree.
Hey, when was
he scored? How many did he average at USC? Like 9 points a game or something like that. He wasn't even. I don't know.
What was it? It was one of the last games we played them, and when Queso was just locking him down as Brownie was bringing.
Yeah,
the
he
ball
couldn't get
court,
the ball
man.
over the half court.
It was like, man, it was like you kind of felt bad for the kid at times. Like, dude, everything was just confirmed in that moment. You know what I mean? Because it's not like I really didn't pay that much attention to him before. So to Drew's point of like those comments of what you just said, like I can't disagree with you because I don't really know. It's not like I've really watched him, to be honest.
I mean,
with you,
he would be a decent. He would be a decent player in the WNBA. I mean, it is what it is. Like I don't know.
I think he'd be pretty good. He probably have level.
But I mean, go over there and make the league maximum. I don't know. Like,
man, that's pretty funny. But it was kind of hard to watch. It was like, all right, third time in a row. Here he goes, trying to bring the ball up against Queso. What's really about to happen right here? He's gonna fail to get the ball past. Yeah, that was, was like,
and it almost looks like he's shocked every time JJ Redick is like, "Hey, go in the game." It's like, "Oh, me? Like, I'm not." Yeah, like, yeah, you're an NBA player, right? Or you're not on the team. Or what? That's like a, it's a
it has to be
league
one of the best jobs in the world, though. Just sitting at the end of the bench.
It's like
clothes, comfy seat, great seat.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would love to do that.
I mean, I would take that. Bench player. Are you going to take a bench player in the NBA, or are you going with a second or third string quarterback in the NFL? Which one do you want?
I mean, you're like 2 or 3 plays away from getting your head blasted in the NFL.
Yeah, basketball, you got basketball, you got a little more chance to get through the
bullpen catcher.
I was about to say bullpen catcher too, right? Bullpen
never
catcher.
Going to get in that regard.
Yeah,
bullpen catcher.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
that's a good question.
Well, I just found the sensitive spot here, Eddie. It sounds like we got to have like at least a 5-minute segment every week on Bronny James to really maybe like we could get some views up.
That's how you get into the algorithm. Now you guys got it. That's how you get into the algorithm.
Yeah, talk about Bronny James. Might as well throw Lonzo Ball in there too. Hey, here's a great one. Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. That dude made more money, and I think is he still in the league or did he finally retire?
I think he retired. He's actually, I believe, doing some color commentating this year for ESPN. I think they.
Okay, I think that's right. Yeah, that's right.
I think maybe even the Thursday night game.
Well, good pull, Brendan. That's a great.
Chase Daniel was awesome.
Yeah. So
Chase
I remember
Daniels, man.
Yeah, that was a good one. Good job. Any other back? Yeah. So no, that was a good one. Yeah, Chase Daniel. Who else was a long-time backup? I can't think of anybody else that.
I don't know, but from the financials.
The Colts had the whole list of them with Sorgi and then Harbaugh, I guess, technically towards the end of his career. But there's there's been a ton of guys in the NFL that have made shit ton of money. I had Steven Garcia, but he, I guess, turned into a little bit of a starter by the end of his career. It's a great job. All those guys usually have handicaps for a reason.
What about Spencer Rattler right now? He's kind of turning into a that kind of guy.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens at the end of his contract with New Orleans because they're obviously going to go in a different direction. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know where he ends up.
Eddie, you just brought up some names there, man. Steven Garcia.
He was a dog.
Hey, shout out.
I remember losing a lot of money on some redheaded Jeff Garcia.
Jeff Garcia
back in the day.
Man.
Jeff Garcia.
So speaking of football, man, before we get off here and let you roll in this last little segment, let's get into it. You touched on it earlier. College football is going to be here before we know it. You got a little time off right now, but obviously an exciting season at hand, especially for the team that you cover down there in Norman. I know there's a lot of high hopes this year when you're returning. The guys they're returning, staff they're returning, couple new faces on the staff. But when the guy at the helm of the whole thing is coming back and his pictures are going viral of just being rocked up from the time in the weight room and all that stuff, obviously it's a big deal.
He actually, and I wasn't going to tell this, but he actually does off-season training with Eddie. John Mateer does. He's been doing it for the last. Yeah.
It looked like he went up there and spent some time with Rob Glass up in Stillwater. I'm just saying. But
Oh yeah, here we go. Yep.
I like what Oklahoma State did. I mean, obviously, it's going to be interesting to see what they do on the offensive line, defensive line going into this year. But it's hard to disagree with what Eric Morse was able to do at North Texas. I think that Mestemaker's pretty special. I know that he did pretty well down at the Manning Passing Academy here this past weekend.
Did he go hang out with the Manning brothers after? Is what I want to know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that might be invite only. Arch might have been the only one that got invited to go do that, but. Like Oklahoma, it's going to be really interesting. I mean, I think this the first 5 games of the year is kind of like going to be a good barometer just in terms of how special this thing could be. Are they going to be special? You do bring back a lot of guys from last year. Feel a lot better about the offensive line. Bringing in Marion Harris to start at right tackle is going to be, I think, a real positive for them. Just bringing back guys like Michael Pasusi, Ryan Foje. They're really excited about Jake Michael at center, who missed the playoff game with the staph infection at the end of the year last year. It's going to be interesting, though. I mean, I think that, like, offensively, they should be a lot better than they were. I think just a natural progression. I think that, all the stories that have come out from Thibodaux, Louisiana this past weekend with John and him talking about not being able to hold on to the football. I think that at the end of last year, I was so sick of talking about the hand injury and being, kind of towards the back end of the season and being a month and a half, 2 months removed from it. It was probably a little bit bigger deal than I think a lot of people wanted to say at the time. And, I think that, like, just what he's been able to do and some of the work that he's done here over the course of the offseason in the summer and going into August will prove, pretty beneficial for him. Just having guys around him. You bring back Isaiah Satania. You went out and got Trell Harris. You got Parker Livingston coming in from Texas. They feel really high about Elijah Thomas, an Oklahoma kid out of Shakota. You feel good about that tight end unit and kind of being revitalized and re-energized with Jason Witten and the 3 guys that they brought in from the portal. That should help a lot just in terms of the run game and what they want to be able to do on the edge and playing 12 personnel. So I'm excited about this offense and seeing what they're able to do. And then you have a defense that, I think for the most part, when they got Owen Heineke's injunction, I think that kind of
that was
really
huge.
kind of rigged up everything a little bit.
Yeah.
Now you can move Cole Sullivan around and play him maybe at the cheetah position. You feel pretty good about Owen and Kip in the middle. Obviously, we got Jaden Jackson and David Stone, who, I think if they didn't do it in numbers a year ago and having Grayson Halton, who obviously, increased his stock tremendously, they'd be a little bit more household names. It feels like just seeing David Stone at some of the camps here recently down in Norman over the last month. I think he's up over 300 right now. I think he said 324 the other day. He certainly looks it. Jaden Jackson's still a ball in the middle. They're really high on Danny Okoye. Taylor Wine obviously had the breakout season a year ago. So it feels like if they can just find a way, you got to survive the first 4 games. Like Michigan, I still think New Mexico's a sneaky tough game with what they were able to do a year ago. Jason Eck's going to end up being probably, all things considered, the next head coach at Wisconsin after, this season, probably after they make a move with Luke Fickell. So I'm excited about it. It should be really interesting. But again, at Michigan, at Georgia, and then Texas, those are a bear in 3 of the first 5 games.
I don't know if we've had a harder stretch of a schedule in the history of our football than those 3 games coming up, because you're talking about, it was always a grind that, maybe we got the bye week before the Texas game, usually when we're in the Big 12, and that was a big thing. But going to Georgia before Texas, that is, and then not only that, but, Michigan, who's, you don't know, but I think that they're going to be a lot tougher team with a Kyle Whittingham-led team, because those guys were big, physical, and strong at Utah, and he's going to bring the same kind of formula to Michigan. I think that's a good fit. And now, will we have the pieces, in year 1? We'll see. But, I mean, they're going to be tough, and they're going to hit you in the mouth regardless of their, what they have on the field. So,
it's going to be really tough.
Yeah. That's a 3
really
game
tough.
stretch right there that is, that's unbelievable. So
it's quite different how it was, backloaded a year ago, and they had 3 of those Final 4 games against top 25 teams. It's kind of flipped. I do think it kind of gets easier towards you get to the end of the schedule. Obviously, you don't know what Florida's going to look like, and their new regime down there. I really liked him when he was at Tulane. We'll see what that looks like, but if you can just kind of stomach those first couple of games, it should be a lot of fun. And, from like an Oklahoma fan perspective, if you're trying to get out and see some of these places, it's maybe one of the best schedules they've ever had, just in terms of away game travel, going to the Big House, going between the hedges, OU Texas, going to the Swamp in November or the end of October. It's I'm excited from that standpoint to go see some of these places. So it should be a lot of fun.
And then you finish it off with A&M, who a lot of people think that they're going to be really good again this year. So at home against A&M, at the end of the season is going to be is going to be tough. So, but
I wish that was a night game, but kind of is what it is.
Well, what are your thoughts on the Friday night game now being announced yesterday for the home opener against UTEP?
I love it. Now, this is a selfish thing because I just want to be able to watch football on Saturday all day in that opening weekend. I do think, from a high school coaching standpoint, I know that it probably affects you guys. It does suck, but am I just misremembering? I feel like a majority of games in week 2 now, or I guess that'd be week 1 after week 0. A lot of games have been moved to Thursday nights in recent years.
I think they did it when we played Temple. Was it not last year we went to Temple, but the year before that a lot of high school games got moved to Thursday.
Yeah.
Stuff like that too. I don't have to worry about that anymore because, I'm full-time property management, doing all that kind of stuff. I've had coaches that are trying to reel me in part-time, but I'm like, man, I kind of enjoy having, some Fridays and Saturdays off to where I can do this kind of thing. So I'm actually going to be doing some, potentially some color commentary for some high school games this year.
Cool.
So we'll see how that goes. But it'll be interesting to see if they, a lot of the teams around the area, make those switches, especially for some of the recruits that could potentially, lose out on that. Maybe it's a official visit or, unofficial, something like that, to give an opportunity to some of these kids that'll, get to go to that game. So
it sucks. I mean, it sucks in that regard, but at the same time, I think that it is the opener. You're going to be a 3-4 touchdown favorite. It's going to be hot either way. And I think that Oklahoma moving it to Friday did kind of secure a 7:00 start, as opposed to if they left it on SEC Plus. You could have been kicking off on Saturday morning at 11 a.m. And I think, with the way that the schedule broke out for Oklahoma and the windows that we know so far, just getting another night game for the vendors down there on Campus Corner is probably, the best option possible for everybody involved.
Yeah, and I'll say this, Eddie, to your point, it's not just you. It's not just some people like that, vendors or whoever else around campus or other people involved. It's the players. It's the coaches. Sure. I guarantee you they love the Friday night aspect too. Coaches, you get an extra day to prepare for whatever's coming next.
Yeah,
right?
Michigan.
Players. Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
Right. And so, I've been a part of those, whether it was at Memphis before, it was at Oklahoma State, the early Thursday, the Friday night games to start the season off are, in my opinion, phenomenal when you're on the good side of those things. Right. So not only for the preparation side of things, like if you do have a big one coming up next, like you got to go to the Big House. But when you're a player, you get to go play on Friday night, which is cool. You don't get to do that in college all the time. It's to you when the game kicks off. You don't know whether it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You're in between the white lines. The clock's going. You're under the lights. Who gives a damn? You're playing football, right? And so you at the same time get to do what you just mentioned. Then as a player, a lot of guys, most guys do like to wake up and still be able to watch college football a day. And I'm watching my highlights of what I just did the night before. Also probably airing at some point, right? So players, coaches, everybody involved loves it to start the season like that. In my opinion, doesn't mean everybody thinks that way, but I think it's a really cool thing. Is there a high school conflict at times with some of it around the state and recruiting wise? Yes, but that's everybody forgets about that 1 week down the road. Nobody gives a damn. You know what I'm saying? So it's not that big of a knock.
It's the 2 front-end games too, like Labor Day weekend and or Black Friday. Anything in between, keep the games off Friday. I'm not a big Friday night football guy. Now, when we're traveling or something, and they've been playing those, I think the Big Ten was playing a lot on Friday nights on Fox this past year. That's what we were watching on the planes, to go to all these places. So it does serve a purpose, but as long as I'm not having to cover too many of those during, week, I guess, 2 through 12.
I will ask Glid this. Think back to your GA days and how cool that would have been to get more prep time for, the next opponent and stuff like that, and have a little bit of time to, have a little freedom and stuff like that. So I think about those guys like that, like you just said, guys that have to grind and cut up film and do all that kind of stuff and get an extra, so that does, I like that perspective for sure.
That's amen to that. Shout out to that for sure. For sure. Took me back right there, man. That's the best. That's the best. Couple cold pops after the game, knowing that you don't got to maybe be up there quite as early as you had to before, and go in there, get your job done. Maybe you get half a day off to watch the ball, or you can at least watch it in your office while you're breaking film down, whatever it is. Oh, it's the best. Yeah, man. To start the season off, that's a lovely little gift right there, man.
Sounds perfect.
Little football god wink at you. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
So, man, that's awesome. Eddie, we appreciate you coming on, man. You got any
No
extra
problem.
takes?
Anytime.
Any extra takes for us, man? Whether it's OU, OSU, college football in general that you want to throw at us? Maybe a little prediction this year. If you had a prediction, who are we going to see in the title? Maybe who's going to run away with it this year? If you have maybe an underdog type guy, who's the heavy favorite?
He already gave us one. He already gave us one with the Luke Fickell, firing at Wisconsin. So there's one for you.
I can't believe I let that slide.
I like how you snuck that one in there. That was good. That was good. I like how you snuck that one in there.
Inevitable. I think Wisconsin opens the year with Notre Dame at Lambeau Field, which would be kind of fun on that first weekend, be able to watch it because OU's playing on a Friday night. I don't know. I mean, I think this OU team can be pretty good. We'll see kind of where they are coming through those first 5 games. But if you can survive at 4-1, even 3-2, I think you can survive that and still get into a college football playoff. And it kind of seems like nowadays you just want to get into the dance and see where it takes you, kind of like Miami did a year ago. Get hot at the right time, like this baseball team did here over the month of June. So I'm excited about it. I think that, like, from an expectation standpoint, I know that I've kind of fallen back on this idea that, like, there was like a 20-day window at the beginning of November when Oklahoma went to Knoxville, had the bye week, and then they went down to Tuscaloosa, that it feels like the trajectory of the program completely 180'd. Because I think there was a lot of people, and myself included, that went back to that Ole Miss game. The way that it ended, that was kind of like the final straw of, are they ever going to be able to get over the hump under this regime, under Brent? And I think as much as everybody wanted it to take the turn that it did, it's super important to continue building on this. And they've done it on the recruiting trail. You have a lot of guys from a retention standpoint, and what Jim Nagy and that front office has been able to do, I think is super, super positive. And if they can continue to take these steps, I think Oklahoma fans will like where it's at the end of the year. So I don't know about prediction. I think 10-2 would sound really good. 9-3 would obviously be fantastic and put you in the spot to or position yourself to be able to play in another college football playoff. So I'm excited about it. I still think that, it's going to be the big boys, whether it be, I guess Indiana nowadays. It's going to be kind of interesting to see what Josh Hoover does up there coming in from TCU. But I think Ohio State's obviously going to be extremely good. I think Georgia's going to be really good. And who knows? I think Texas is going to be pretty damn good as well. So we'll see how it all kind of turns out. But I'm excited for it. It's about 3 weeks, and the uptick of college football content will start churning.
No doubt. Hey, I got one more question for you. You did mention youth camps. You were at the Baker Mayfield camp a couple of days ago. Got to hang out. Got to do a cool, got to put on the old school Bucks helmet and everything like that, and headbutt your guy. What is it like being around him and being able to cover him and see his, career kind of on that trajectory, and now, him, full circle, family guy, has got 2 kids now, everything like that. What's it always like being around him? And I know you guys are, semi, close, stuff like that. But what was it like, seeing him from where he was, coming to Oklahoma and then following his whole career, and then now what he's doing with the youth and always coming back to Norman and giving back?
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, I think that, like, when he says stuff like, it's always good to be home, he truly means it. And I think that, it was kind of unique on Saturday that we were able to talk to him, and he had a bunch of the former or current players out there helping out as camp counselors, being able to kind of take advantage of that opportunity now with NIL and having some of those guys out there and be a part of it. It truly kind of feels like a family for him to come back. And obviously he's going to be always welcomed in Norman, winning a Heisman Trophy, and, what that 2017 team was able to do, and just kind of what he did as a player in Norman. It's been incredible. And I think that it's the true Baker Mayfield story of going to the NFL and being doubted and having to prove yourself again. And all of a sudden, kind of waking up and looking at where he's at, now 3-4 years removed from having to basically make a spot start in Los Angeles that reignited his career. It's kind of perfect for what Baker is and kind of what his football journey has been. So super happy for him. He's been awesome to me. We've had, a lot of really funny moments on camera, and it's been pretty special to watch him kind of develop into the quarterback that he is now with Tampa Bay, and having a franchise of his own, and looking for that next contract. So Couldn't be happier for him. He's the best, and looking forward to him as well as Kyler. I'm super excited to see what Kyler can do. And I kind of got to know Kyler a little bit more just from a baseball side of things and covering the baseball team and seeing him both on the football field and the baseball field. I'm excited for him. I hope that he finds a lot of success this year with Minnesota and the Vikings.
No doubt about it.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
DG,
awesome.
you got any more?
That's a great take. No, I can't add anything.
Sure.
I mean, I can't add anything on top of that in the sense of the Baker conversation. That's one I don't struggle to speak up and be on his side ever. For one, just the player he is. But I got a chance, man. I was around Baker quite a bit. We played against each other, and may or may not have had a spring break trip together with some OU and OSU guys together, maybe one or two actually. But so a group of guys that were phenomenal to be around, and he was just one of the guys in those sense. But and he was awesome. I don't keep in touch with him like that anymore. But
there I am.
Just a great dude. And you just missed everything I was saying great about OU and Baker. Sorry,
he just praised him.
So man, I really do.
Oh
man, he's
man,
a
I'm
phenomenal
sorry.
dude. Like I know, and I know him and. We talked about it last week, Drew. Him and Wyndham may or may not have had some beef, whatever. I think that's swept under the rug now.
We did do it.
But no, it was awesome, man. Baker was always, in my opinion, fun to be around. Just an awesome one of the guys to hang out with. Always had a special kind of charisma, and then it sucked playing against him. I'll say that. Just an ultimate competitor, and but I enjoyed watching him. Still do enjoy watching him because when you see guys that have a chip on their shoulder every single time they step onto the field, that's rare, man. That's rare. That's hard to do. And a guy that's come over, he's gotten over the hump so many times, like you just mentioned, Eddie. So it's fun to watch, man. I'm a huge Baker fan, just as far as what he does on the field, regardless of wherever he played. Seriously, I mean, that don't matter to me because he was a great dude around just when it was just with the guys. And we had a good time with good people. Had some battles. He got the better end of us, I think, in his career every time or whatever that was. Definitely at the end of my career. But love supporting him, man. It's fun to watch. Hats off to him for being an ultimate competitor. That's for damn sure.
I would imagine that he was on the short list of all-time spring break goers. I would put myself on the list, but I would imagine Baker's not. He could be included in the list of guys that you would want on a spring break trip.
I'll just say you are. At least from my perspective of the guys that we went with and hung out with, and that's an accurate statement.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Or an accurate assumption. Yeah,
I can imagine.
There you go. Yeah, no doubt about it. Hey, Eddie, thank you so much for joining us. Tell everybody where you're at. Tell everybody where you're at, where they can follow you, where they can listen to you, all that good stuff, and then we'll get out of here.
Yeah, SoonerScoop.com every day. And then SoonerScoop.com YouTube channel. We're doing a bunch of stuff out of the new studio down in Norman on Campus Corner. And then in the mornings here locally in Oklahoma City on the franchise from 6 to 9. And Eddie_Rado, just like you see on the screen on social media. So I appreciate it, boys. It was good to catch up. It was a lot of fun. Looking forward to football here in a couple of months.
Had a blast.
No doubt.
Appreciate you, Ed.
You bet.
Yeah, for us at the Huddle Up Podcast, like, follow, subscribe. Thank you to our sponsors, Jeremy Hodge Auto Group, Cooper Paint, Striping, and Sealing, and Magnolia Landscape and Design. We will see you guys again. I know, Glid, you're actually going on vacation coming up. You're taking a little time off, doing a little vacation.
Yeah.
Where are we headed?
A little vacay, man. Going to go back to where the wife's from. I'll be heading back to Memphis. I think I'll be back, though, in time for next week's episode. Going to go see some family friends of hers and the 901 back in Memphis, man, where we first met. And then towards the end of the month, man, we'll be heading out for a little bit. Going to go get some beach time. So
good job. All right. Well, guys, we'll see you again next week. Take care.